Okay, we are now live.
Good afternoon and welcome to the April Asheville Transit Committee meeting. My name is Rochelle Sorensen Cox. I am humbled and grateful to be here, serving in this capacity as chair for the first time. And I would like to just take one small second and honor and just give a high five to Thomas Ludwig for his leadership of this team. We were hoping to get one more meeting in before he left. His obligation to this committee ended in March, but things are what they are right now. So if we can all just collectively send some love and thanks to Thomas Ludwig until we figure out how to do that in a more tangible way. But thank you. It is now 3:30 and this meeting will be called to order. I would like to start with a roll call, please. We have members and then we also have some guests. So, Brandon Oliver.
I am present.
Kyle Sherrard.
Here and ready.
Harvey Harold.
Veteran here.
Thank you for your service. Jeff Jones.
I'm here. Glad to be here.
Georgia Burtz.
Here.
Victoria let me know that she cannot attend today, but she plans to be back next week. John Hahn. Okay, we'll just make a note that Mr. Hahn is, I'm going to assume Mr. Hahn is not yet with us. Michael Waddell or Waddell? John, I'd like you please to say your last name so that I don't embarrass myself.
John Balsoni.
John Balsoni, welcome. And you are also a member of the Transit Committee, is that true? I mean, excuse me, MMTC.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate all you do to connect this group with that one. Thank you. All right, we have a couple guests. One both of them I'm super excited about. Carmen and Haley. I'm going to let Haley go first. She is a new she's going to, I'm assuming you're going to be a regular with us, right?
Yeah.
All right, Haley Burton, please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm Haley Burton. I'll be joining the City of Asheville as a Transit Projects Coordinator. Very happy to be here and work with you all in the future. Great.
And so for those of you that were familiar and remember working with Marcella, Haley is in Marcella's job, and let's just take a minute too and wish Marcella well as she moves on to do transit things in Washington, D.C., and on a level that we all know will only trickle down and make things better for us here. All right, the next guest, which I'm super excited to talk about, is Carmen Nivarra. Will you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Carmen Nivarra. I am the community organizer with Better Buses Together, and I work on that's not true. I'm the community organizer with Just Economics, and I work on our Better Buses Together campaign. And I am here on behalf of both to talk to you all later about a safety proposal that we have.
Carmen does all of the things, so no wonder that's confusing. All right, it looks like we also have some members of Asheville Redefines Transit and the city. So if you would all please just take a moment and introduce yourselves. I mostly see numbers, not names, so excuse me for not introducing you.
It is okay. Thank you, Rochelle. My name is Eunice Lovey, and I'm the Transit Planning Manager.
And my name is Amy Tessner, and I am the Administrative Assistant.
Thank you, City of Asheville. Do we also have, it looks like we've got some folks from ART.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, this is LaShawn Abraham, Director of Operations, Asheville Transit, RATP Dev. Barry Ryling, General Manager, is also here. I think you got a *6 to unmute, Barry.
This is Barry, yes. General Manager for RATP Dev. Good to see all of you and hear your voices. It's been a while.
Hey, Barry.
Hi, how are you? I haven't seen you in ages. You've moved out of town.
Yes, sir.
All right. I did hear that earlier, so we're going to have to, hopefully, for all of our sakes, this thing starts to get behind us before too long, and we can meet on a regular basis and exchange greetings personally.
Thank you so much, everyone. This feels pretty personal to me, so I just want to say thank you. And I'm also just really grateful that this meeting is happening. There have been some back and forths about meeting frequency, and we will address those in the agenda. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble pulling up my agenda on my phone. If someone can help me with just the next item and give me just a few minutes to do that.
Welcome announcements.
Okay, well, there you go. Announcements.
It's the welcome announcement.
Yes, it's a pre-printed form.
Welcome. It's what, okay. Hold on just one second. I'm sorry, this is embarrassing. I have some challenges. Kyle, what's the next thing on our agenda?
So yeah, starting off with the welcome announcement. I don't have it in front of me, but it's a pre-populated announcement about the Transit Committee's purpose and goals. Following that, we would need to review the minutes of the January 20 meeting and then move on to the agenda for today's meeting.
Super, thank you. And again, I apologize for cutting you off. So meeting, transit, agenda, and goals. Eunice, can I turn that over to you for this? If you would please just state what this, if you don't mind, just a quick introduction of this committee.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Rochelle.
Do you mind just doing a quick introduction of this committee and a recap of our goals?
Wow, I don't have that information.
Hold on, I don't either. Hold on. I know, right? All right, hold on one second. Excuse me. Well, we just turned in our annual report. So sure, I would love to share it. The purpose of the Transit Committee is to study public transportation in the city and to serve as an advisory body to the Multimodal Transportation Committee and the Transportation Department on matters affecting the transit system and its operation, including but not limited to the following: the current and future direction of the transit system quality, effectiveness, problems, needs, and requirements, transit-related matters of public interest and concern, proposed budget and plan of operations, rate the system and bus routing, grants and other sources of funding, rules, regulations, and procedures, coordination of transit matters with other agencies as may be necessary or desirable, and other transit matters as necessary for the effective operation of the transit system. So that's why we're here today, advocacy of the transit system. Kyle, will you tell me the very next thing, please?
We're going to move on to the approval of the January, well, at least the discussion of the January 20th, 2021 meeting minutes.
Does anyone have any changes for the minutes for the January 2020 meeting? Any updates or changes?
I would like to move that they be accepted as written.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Harvey. The minutes are accepted. Thank you so much. Looks like Kim Roney is joining us. Thank you so much, Kim, for being here. Would you just like to take a second and introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Roney, and I am the liaison to the Multimodal Transportation Commission. And I just want to say thank you to all my neighbors serving here on the Transit Committee today.
Thanks for being here, Kim, and thank you for your advocacy always. Kyle, what's next?
All right, now we need to, I think you need to call a vote, individual vote on the approval of the minutes.
All right, let's do that. Thank you so much. Motion from Jeff, second from Harvey. I'm going to call the roll, and please vote yay or nay to approve the minutes. Brandon Oliver. Kyle.
Yay.
Harvey.
Yay.
Jeff.
Yay.
Georgia.
Yay.
John is still absent, I'm guessing. Michael. John.
Yay.
And I also vote yay. Do we have I guess, first of all, do we have a quorum?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
All right, so it sounds like the minutes are approved. Thank you so much.
All right, now on to the agenda for today.
All right, what's first up? If you don't mind.
I move to accept the agenda as written.
And I'll second.
Excellent. So with a motion from Jeff and a second from Kyle, are we ready to move on with this agenda today? I will call roll. Brandon. Kyle.
Yay.
Harvey.
Here.
Yay.
Jeff.
Yay.
Thank you, Brandon. Can we just recap that was you?
Absolutely. That was me. Brandon said yay.
Thank you. John.
Yay.
And Georgia.
Yay.
Thank you so much. All right, we've got an agenda. Amy, I want to thank you and Eunice also for helping me prepare this agenda. Let's move forward. Kyle, what's the first thing?
Next, it's kind of a non-starter, but we just have to address the fact that public comment can't really be received in the traditional format right now.
Sure. Thank you so much for that. Again, this is where I just want to thank again the city and all of the people behind the scenes that have even made these meetings possible. The bad news is that we haven't been meeting very often. The good news is in between these two meetings, we really had an opportunity to collect and solicit public input. We didn't really get much, or I don't think any this time. And I just want to still just see that as an opportunity for us. And I think as we all get our feet wet and start working together as a new council, because we are all new, that we can sort of hopefully solicit more public input in the future. So thank you for that. I don't believe there's any public input for now. Public input is allowed from the minute the agenda is set, and the city gave us some extra time this time, hoping to collect some until 3 hours before the meeting. So Amy, thank you for being there to catch whatever came. And then I really would like to issue a call to action for this team that when public comment is open, that we use that opportunity to talk to our friends and neighbors about transit and to solicit their comments and encourage them to participate in that way. It kind of breaks my heart that there's no public comment for buses when I know a lot of people have a lot of things to say about the buses. So if we can just work on that, There we go. Next.
All right, on to, we have old business, 3 things. First being an update on the Young's bus contract.
Okay, I think for that we need to turn that over to city staff and the art team. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the first item. It's a quick update on the Young Transportation Bus contract that was brought on board in June 2020 to provide additional transit service. As noted, the contract term was extended, and we also increased the budget by $480,000. So Young Transportation is going to continue assisting with ensuring that we continue providing service in lieu of the social distancing policy we have in place. And with that, I end my report on Young's Transportation. Are there any questions to answer? Yeah, Jeff?
Yes, Eunice, tell us if you can, how long the contract goes through what month?
I believe it goes through the end of the year, and I will double check on that and follow up. But based on the approval, I think it is through June 2021 or further than that. So, but I will double check and provide a quick update to the group.
Yeah, I was curious if it's possible that it would go beyond June 30th of 2021. So when you know, let us know. Thank you.
That does bring a question to me that if this ends in June, do we have any plans to increase ridership between now and June?
Increase ridership in terms of
capacity. I used the wrong word. Capacity, please. Increase capacity on each bus.
At this time, we're not considering doing that, Rochelle, given that a number of things needs to be done before we're able to increase capacity on the buses. So it is still going to remain at 9 passengers with the driver, which is currently what we have. And basically, if the art buses are full, if it's being the bus is being followed by Young Transportation, passengers can get on that Young Transportation buses.
Right, but I'm hearing that contract ends in June.
Let me double check, Rochelle, and I'll get back to the group on that.
Okay, I'm already experiencing full loads as a writer. So you said that a number of factors needed to happen before we would increase capacity. Could you just tell me two things that would be contingents?
One of the things we're looking at is if DHHS is going to give us the nod to be able to increase capacity. The other thing is we do have barriers on almost all the buses except for the electric buses. And that's one of the things that we're going to cancel this next week to seek approval to put the safety barriers on there to replace what we currently have. And I believe those are some of the things we're looking at in terms of making sure that we increase capacity. The other thing is we're currently providing fare free, and we need to look at that as well to ensure that people are able to pay for the rides if we are able to increase capacity on the buses.
I am so glad you brought up fare. I would really like to encourage the team to look at increasing fares first as a way to offset capacity, because I do see some necessity riders. Well, anyway, I'll stop there. When you say DHHS, do you mean federal or Buncombe County?
Buncombe County, not federal.
Okay, so Buncombe County right now is keeping capacity down?
We have, I don't believe they are keeping it down. We have to seek approval if we decide to increase capacity on the buses.
Okay, we meaning the city or RAPPDEV?
We, the city.
And you have to ask the county?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Jeff.
Yeah, I hope this is the right place for this question. I noticed in the report from RATP Dev that, and correct me if I am wrong, 339 passengers were left behind on Route WE1 in the month of March alone. And certainly all other routes had much lower numbers. But it makes me want to ask, can we make any kind of adjustment that, I don't know how to ask this. It just seems to me that there might be an adjustment that we could make so that we're not leaving 339 passengers behind on a single route in a single month. That's more than 10 a day. And I'll have more to say when I read about the complaints report. But the number of people who call in, who express concerns about losing jobs and being late for jobs is incredibly troubling to me. And I know we are I mean, I know it's COVID. I get that. So, but I'm hoping that there might be some adjustments that we can make to lessen the burden on our community.
Hey, Jeff, let me follow your question up and just ask what public housing places are on that route?
WE1, none. I don't mean to interrupt, but there is the Asheville Terrace, which is handicapped and elderly, and also the VRQ. So not so much. Wait, WE1. Excuse me. You're right. No. In the interest of, we could go on with this. So let's agree that this needs to be an agenda item that stays. And if I can just say, like, I feel like the next item, we could talk about masks, but I mean, really, under new items, the discussion on holding monthly transit committee meetings, this to me screams that needs to happen. So Jeff, I'm going to cut this with an honest.
No, not a problem.
We need to keep talking.
I just
okay, pause is what I'm doing. We're going to push pause. Okay, so mass distribution, let's just quickly cover.
Sure.
Thank you.
A quick update. We track, monitor and track the number of masks we have on hand. And the latest number we have is a little over 21K. We get numbers from RATP Dev on a weekly basis. So based on our meeting last week, we currently have, as I indicated, over 21,000 masks on hand. And we continue to make sure that they are distributed on the buses, as well as the dispensers are filled with masks to ensure that people are adhering or complying with the mandate to use masks on the buses. We actually recently purchased an additional 20,000, and it seems like it's working, and people are using them on the buses as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eunice, and I echo that. I, as a frequent bus rider daily, I see that those boxes that were put on the bus are a huge improvement, and I really appreciate the availability of masks. I want to thank Better Buses I know I still have masks that I just carry with me from the money that Better Buses. Anyway, great community effort, I think, between the city and the county and transit. So I noticed mask use on the bus, and I applaud and appreciate that. Okay, so discussion on, city transit staffing update. We kind of jumped ahead and we welcomed Haley. Oh my gosh, you have huge shoes to fill, as you know. Marcella was a treasure, and we are certainly going to miss her. I'm guessing, Haley, that you are now taking over the bus stop improvements project. Would you,
yes,
instead of putting you on the spot, would you be willing to report on that next meeting?
Sure, yes, I can do that.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I get easily distracted, so I'm very proud of myself for putting it on the next agenda. Okay, so transit, who else? I understand there's still some more openings at the transit department, and that is, please understand that we were fighting hard for a meeting in March, and we conceded to a meeting every other month in an effort to allow the transportation department to fill some open jobs there. And we're really only as strong as we are from the city down. So thank you for being willing to just sit with me while we gave them an opportunity. Welcome, Haley. And can you please, Eunice, tell us who else might be joining this team?
The second position that is currently being filled is the transit grants financial analyst. And we have reviewed applications that we received, and we have some interviews scheduled this week. So hopefully by the middle of next month or by the end of next month, we should have another staff person joining the group.
Thank you so much. And as you can imagine, the grant, excuse me, Jeff, just hold on one second. So granting and funding, that's huge, right? All roads lead back to money. So that is a huge hole that the transportation department has had. And this will be this is something that needs to happen. Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, so when I was looking at the complaints report, I noticed that city staff does data entry for that, and I guess maybe the reason it jumped out at me, I just know that we are so understaffed at the city level, and I would have thought that this is an RATP Dev report, and there used to be an RATP Dev person who did the data entry, and now it's city staff, it's Amy. And it jumped out at me this month. And I'm always trying to understand, especially for new people who are joining us, understanding the difference between RATP Dev and city staff it takes a little bit to figure that out. But I'll just express my surprise that city staff was entering data for an RATP Dev report, and maybe someone could explain that to me.
Jeff, can you explain which specific data you're referring to? Because we normally review the data that RATP staff put together and make sure that we submit the report. So I'm a little bit amiss as to which specific data you're referring to.
Yeah, so there's a huge spreadsheet that RATP Dev sends in every month. I think one of the first things it has is staffing update, and then rolling stock, and then buses and accident reports. And one of the tabs is called complaints.
Yes,
and there are a number of fields for each complaint, and one of them says entered by. And so that's where Amy's name shows up for every complaint except one in March. And and again, I used to know the name of the woman who used to do this a couple of years ago, but But so I think that's the report I'm talking about, Eunice, if that helps.
Dev, it's a shared responsibility. You're right in terms of RATP Dev compiling the information into that database, but we city staff as well enter information into that database. So I believe it's a shared responsibility with RATP Dev entering the majority of the complaints we receive in that database.
Okay, that's new information for me. Thank you.
Jeff, thank you for bringing this up. And this is something that's worthy of a conversation. So that's concerning to me too. And Jeff, I'm glad you brought it up because it did seem like most of the complaints were entered by Amy. And so Barry and LaShawn, I would like you, please, if you could speak to the way that customer service complaints are handled with RATP Dev, because it does seem a little off balance that city staff and Amy would receive more complaints than you all do at the transit center. That just doesn't make sense to me. And I also understand that you have a customer service sort of management person in place by Krista Jones. So can you talk to me about what her role is in collecting these complaints and even phone calls, like Jeff said, people like, oh my gosh, I just got fired because I missed the bus. So where do those complaints fall in?
The complaint record is a shared file folder. Janet George inputs them from the city. It depends on who gets the call first, basically.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. So I'm speaking specifically to calls that come into transit or are handed into transit. I understand and I feel really comfortable that the calls that come into Janet and the calls that come into Amy are handled and recorded. My concern is that the calls that come into transit and the paperwork complaint that comes into transit are not followed through and are not recorded in an accurate way. So if you could just speak to that.
Well, we're responsible for the response on any complaint, whether it's coming through the city or coming through our offices here. LaShawn, do you have any input on that? LaShawn?
We get the complaints. We do get complaints here. They're just not entered into there, and we'll get more diligent about putting them in.
Can you tell me why they're not? If this is a shared document, as Eunice said, why would they not be in there?
I just haven't put them in.
Yeah.
But why is that your job? Whose job is that? I think you're asking.
It is my job. I'm the one that answers when you look at that complaint log and you see the responses, they're all coming from me. So that's my job.
Right.
So then what is the job of this customer service manager? What is the job of your community? But you have customer service staff, correct?
We have 2 customer service staff, yes, and they work at the transit center.
But they don't handle complaints?
No.
So can you talk to me a little bit about...
But they do handle them, yes, down at the transit center. They're dealing with people all day long at the transit center, helping with information.
I'm aware. But why are they not charged also with the complaints? Like LaShawn seems like she's a very, very busy person. So this seems like, can you just explain why customer service is not charged with complaints? And why that's put on management staff instead of using...
Because the interaction between the customer is an operations issue. And LaShawn does a great job with the interaction with customers. And it's not part of the, at this point, it's not part of the duties of a customer service rep.
Okay, just one more follow-up question. So the customer service representative is on site, right, at the transit center, and in real time takes these complaints, but yet you say they are not equipped to handle that's on LaShawn, who's in a separate location and not on site. It's her job to handle these. Is that correct?
I did not say they are not equipped. I did say that it's LaShawn's responsibility.
So they're not empowered to do these things.
It's LaShawn's responsibility.
Okay, I would like to just make a note that we continue this conversation on what customer service does for, I think this deserves a little more attention. So we're going to move on though. Thank you so much. It's 4 o'clock. I'm going to try to stay. Oh my gosh, we're going to move on to Carmen Nivarra. Carmen is part of, like she said, Better Buses and Just Economics. And as we all know, reimagining public safety in Asheville and reimagining public safety everywhere is huge. And Better Buses and Just Economics has an amazing, I think, proposal to reimagine the way things happen at transit. And by transit, I mean at the transit station, where we all know there are some huge opportunities for improvement in customer service and in safety and just in increasing ridership. So I am so happy to introduce my friend and colleague and peer, Carmen, to talk a little bit about reimagining public safety at the transit center. Carmen, go ahead.
Thank you all so much. So hello. As I mentioned in my introduction, my name is Carmen Nivarra. I am the community organizer with Just Economics, and I work with our Better Buses Together campaign. I'm so grateful to be speaking to you all and to share information about a plan that we've been working on to improve the safety of bus riders in the hopes of getting the committee or individuals' endorsements. I know some of you have heard this a couple of times through various ways I've tried to get it out, but I'm hoping you'll sit through and maybe more information that you didn't think about is coming to light. So during this time, the city is really working on reimagining public safety. Better Buses Together is proposing that transit safety also be reimagined. We're asking the city to invest in the development of a new position that would take the place of conventional policing models of security guards that are currently in place at the transit center. While the position would include the responsibilities of the current security officers on the platform, it would also entail providing a more supportive approach to individuals. The position would be staffed by professionals skilled in conflict resolution, de-escalation, and intervention, and would be trained to recognize mental health issues and be able to engage with and create real connections with transit riders. In advance of this meeting, I emailed you all a link that includes the proposal where you can find more information, including a rough cost analysis and feedback from the riders. You will also find links to information about other cities that are implementing similar projects in their transit operations. And you'll also find a link that'll take you to the endorsement form when you are ready individually or as a committee to support this proposal. Now is a crucial time to improve and reimagine safety in our community. The proposed position would be a model of a new and innovative way to do just that. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak on this important subject. I'm super happy to answer any questions you have now, or you have all of my contact info in the email I sent, and feel free to message me that way if it helps. Are there any questions? Jeff?
Carmen, I'm wondering if you could maybe give us 2 or 3 examples of what this would look like at the transit center, different from what it is right now. I usually deal with real world data better than theoretical. So a few examples would help me.
So examples of when this position would have been better than a security guard?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if you look at like the most extreme circumstances, Rachel Root, who was really somebody who battled with mental illness, and she was well known on the transit platform as somebody who was struggling and was at conflict with a lot of individuals there. And if she had been able to make a connection with this position that we are proposing, she may have been able to get the help she needed before she died. And, you know, the other extreme example was the rider who had the knife in South Asheville. And, you know, I think that if a de-escalation position were in place, that person could have gone to that transit stop and talked to him and hopefully made it a situation where that person would still be alive today. In smaller instances, you know, there's an example of someone who couldn't ride the bus because he didn't have shoes, and this position would be able to contact, say, Be Loved or any other local resource to provide shoes for this person so that they would get rejected from the bus. And I think when you look at the ability to connect with people like one-on-one and develop a relationship and build a trust, that's where I think this position could really make a difference in people coming up to them and saying, hey, I need help with, do you know about? And this position could really help the community. And I think it would really help with community relations, you know, with transit, and hopefully grow and strengthen transit. Anybody else? Yeah.
Carmen, Kyle?
I just want to clarify, Mr. Dalton is very much alive. He did not die.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did not know.
I just want to show you this. Do you all see this? Anyone who's gotten a pedicure downtown knows this is nothing more than foam, right? It's just a piece of foam. And it fit into this folder, which I had with me at work. And one day this qualified as shoes to get on public transit when bare feet did not. And I also had some personal experiences with Rachel Ruitt from the very beginning as a staff member of RATPDev when this first began on July 4th of 2020. So I do feel like this is a huge opportunity for transit. We are moving the most vulnerable of our population. And when we speak about equity and inclusion and environmental racism and economic racism and accessibility and parking, holy moly, y'all. In preparation for this meeting, I watched all of the YouTube meetings to just figure out how to be a good chair. And I realize I'm hijacking the meeting and I just want to own this for a minute, but I really think this is important. I listened to a meeting on YouTube today of the Downtown Commission, Parking and Transportation. And I listened to the whole thing. And I listened to how downtown parking and the customer service around parking and the Downtown Commission, which is a commission charged with moving people in and out of downtown in a way that makes the most economic and safety sense for everyone. And there was no mention of public transit in this, other than some of the parking fees go to pay public transit. And I really, really don't understand why there's such a disconnect between downtown, tourism, parking, housing, economic development and jobs, racial equity, reparations, why public transit, homelessness, why public transportation continues to be the unseen net of this. Public transit is where all people fall. So we have got, as a community, I challenge us to get it together. Jeff.
Yeah, so I really have, listened to Deborah Campbell's words about reimagining public safety in Asheville. And this is just to me, my personal opinion, is a phenomenal opportunity of a way to actually do that in a small environment at the transit center, where we bring a very different mindset to working with the community. And if you need shoes, or if there's a conflict, someone who can de-escalate conflict. And I just think it's an incredible opportunity. So I certainly want to hear more discussion, but I would also like to move that the transit committee endorse this proposal by Better Buses Together.
I do too. And John, how can we make this something?
Rochelle, this is Eunice. I have comments regarding the presentation made by Carmen and also Jeff's comment.
Harvey, we see you. Hold on a second.
I've been pushing this raise your hand button for 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, Harvey.
And
please go ahead. Eunice, thank you.
Around there. I really want to know something, we're having a transit committee meeting, right? The agenda was to follow what we have on the agenda to do that. We got out of the old business, in the city staff, and then you skipped on holding the monthly transit meetings. You went to the proposed Better Buses Together, and then you got on the subject of letting Miss Nivarra speak. And she was speaking on that, and she was talking about all these different things. And I read her whole text that she sent us out, and we got into that and had the rules about what the officers would do, the increase in money, and the equity and inclusion. You got off on all of that, and then you. Rachel went to parking fees and everything like that. We're trying to stick with one thing, and one thing only. But you're still trying to say, let's approve this and that and the other. We have not discussed all these things because those things increase the pay from $139 to $150 to $180 something. That's $50,000, coming up front. We already have rules as far as, weapons and things like that. We went through the committee. We went through this last year, year before. We've gotten all that settled out. We're not trying to recreate anything or redo the business that we already have in place. Equity inclusion, they're redoing their whole program at this present time. We need to stay on board of what we're doing in our city. They are doing their job. Let them do it. They will come to us. And they already are giving us a new program. They're changing the management. They've already done that. They already have everything in place. The only thing we have to do is reach out and touch it.
Thank you, Harvey.
But the main thing I'd like to do is follow the agenda and discuss the things that we are discussing, and not go from the transit center and then go talk about parking. Let's not do that. Let's stay on the agenda.
I appreciate that. And Yeah, thank you. I do just want to continue to make the connection that transportation department is charged with both parking and transit. And I think those can be two very opposing things. So I very much welcome the opportunity to merge those. And Harvey, I appreciate you keeping me on track. Thank you so much, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Harvey, if I could just comment on something. So it would be eliminating the security guards and putting in this officer. And it's the Department of Equity and Inclusion works for the community. And what we're talking about is a position that would just be for the transit center to help mitigate potential problems. Security guards work on problems as they're happening, right? And so we are hoping that you will all see the value in having a position that could work towards helping like unify people on the platform and feel a sense of community and be able to go to them when there's, you know, any issue before problems really arise.
Rochelle, I wanted to follow up with what was just said in addition to comments made by Jeff. And we met with BBT on April 9th to have further discussions, as well as have a better understanding of the proposal. And also just to follow up and let everyone know that Jessica and I met with the city manager, as well as the assistant city manager, to have further conversation regarding those, and also to really take a look at what's happening nationwide as to the proposal made. So it is not necessarily getting rid of all the security guards at the transit station, but look at what is feasible. Is it a matter of having one or the other or both? And so our direction is to continue looking at that and see what other examples we can bring to bear that is happening throughout the nation. And we're also working with RATP Dev also to track a number of issues that happen at the station that sometimes they have to deal with. So I just wanted to follow up and let everyone know that the conversation continues. We need to do additional work in terms of how that really looks like, define the scope as to how that moves forward. And I believe this is a conversation that is going to go on for a while till we get to a place where we really define how that looks, because we all understand that there's a need to work with passengers at the station. However, we also want to make sure that we implement the right approach to ensure that we're working with everyone that has issues at the station. So I just wanted to follow up and let everybody know.
Thank you.
Jeff? Thank you, Eunice. Jeff?
Yeah, I'm so grateful for the conversations that Eunice and Jessica are having with city staff, with the city manager and assistant city manager to carry this forward. And I know that they're looking at a number of different ways to implement it. I still think it's possible and would be, and there's not been a second to my motion. I'm recognizing that, but I would like to offer a motion that the Transit Committee endorse the proposal, if anyone wishes to second it.
I think we should give staff time enough to do that before we do that, Jeff. Give them time.
Harvey, by staff, do you mean?
Give staff time enough to work through what they're going through. Just for us to vote on something like that, I don't think it would be feasible. It wouldn't be necessary at this time. But if y'all want to go ahead and do it, go ahead. But I don't think it's necessary.
Hey, this is Barry. Can I throw a couple cents in on this? As the manager of the drivers, the manager of the supervisors, dispatcher, customer service reps, these are the people that are, these people have not gone home. A worldwide pandemic hit a year ago. They didn't stay home. I have one administrative person that was able to stay home most of this time. The rest of us have been here on the front every day. And quite honestly, to think that there's no criminal activity going on down at the transit center would be a false thought process.
Yeah.
I love the idea of more help, more people that could possibly impact what is going on with the mental health status of a lot of our passengers. I absolutely agree. More would be a wonderful idea. I'm only saying that in my mind, in our experiences with operators and our staff, the criminal element isn't just going to get up and walk away. They're still there. They're going to be there every day. They're in the bathrooms every night. I mean, it's huge, and it's there, and it's not going to go away. So that's my 2 cents worth. More is better. Absolutely. I like the idea of these kind of people interacting with those who need it. And it could very well go towards, helping a lot of people down there. Yeah, there's a lot of them coming and going at the transit center. And that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Barry, I appreciate that. And in that seems like an immediate way to circle back to your customer service reps who are there on site. So when you say that more people empowered to do more things, I have worked in retail and in sales my whole life, basically. And there is nothing that is more that is a better stopper of shoplifting and crime and misbehavior than good customer service. Someone saying hello and greeting you when you come in the store, acknowledging that you are even there. So I would, again, Barry, I appreciate that you said, yeah, more people. So I think that, an easy and kind of no-brainer way to start would be to empower your customer service folks on the ground at transit to be more customer service and to not put all of that on LaShawn. And I don't mean that to sound like an order. I just mean to, it seems like that could be an easy, maybe not easy, but a simple fix to just putting more power to the people. So, Carmen, you had something you wanted to add?
No, I just wanted to wrap up really quickly. I don't want to take any more of your time. I do sincerely want to thank Jessica and Eunice. They have been super willing to meet with us, and they've asked for more information on stuff. And it seems like, hearing from Barry as well, like this is a great opportunity. I am hearing that you all are not ready to endorse it as a group, and I totally get that. But if you yourself as a person would like to endorse it, you have the link, and I welcome you to endorse it or to ask me any questions. I am fully available to, help you understand what we're proposing or, anything else that you might need. But I do welcome you all to sign up as individuals if this resonates for you. And Harvey, if I could answer any more questions or if you need clarity, or if I could just hear your feedback individually, I would really like that. So thank you all so much.
Harvey, are you a member of Better Buses?
No.
Do you know about Better Buses?
No.
Oh, I would really encourage you, Harvey, to maybe consider partnering with Better Buses, and I'll make sure that you have the information about that.
I'll make sure I reach out to Carmen.
Yeah, thank you. Harvey, have I satisfied you? I feel like I've offset you a little bit. Do I owe you anything else?
I love the meeting. Let's keep on going.
Thank you, sir. And I would be happy to buy you coffee and talk outside of here. And that's, that again is there's a lot to talk about. I think we have a reason for a monthly meeting. So I do want to catch up with that. Kyle, can you please, as the attorney and just resident hotshot on this group, can you please talk to us about what's required of this organization, and how valid is the transit committee, and how worthy are we of community resources and city time and attention, because that's really what it comes down to.
I'm not entirely prepared with numbers or figures or anything, but the bylaws of the transit committee do state that we are required to have a minimum number of meetings every year. Jeff, remind me, is it 9? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I'm not remembering.
I think it's 9. But nonetheless, I was speaking with one of the assistant city attorneys before our meeting. She did state that because both the city of Asheville and the state of North Carolina are under an ongoing state of emergency, that many of the rules and procedures are suspended. So she wasn't able to give me a clear answer as to whether there's any, I guess, result of failure to meet regularly, other than that we just can't talk about what we need to talk about. Obviously, right now, we have to suspend our public comment section or period, which is required both by law and by our own bylaws. So I think that provides an example of COVID is changing things. Hopefully we'll get back to normal. But just for the time being, the city, this is not an official answer from the city attorney's office. This was a casual conversation. I want that to be very clear, but that it was something that is kind of, we're all going through this right now. Other committees are not meeting regularly as well. And, when we are all vaccinated or COVID is not at the forefront of every newspaper fold, we will be able to meet regularly again.
Would anyone from the city care to weigh in? Or Georgia, do you have something you'd like to say to this?
Not at this time, Rochelle.
Okay, so all of that said, I think we can agree that we all feel a little not quite sure and confident that at least every other month is than nothing. So we will meet again in June. Jeff?
Yeah, I'd like to understand more fully why we're not able to meet every month. I'm getting, sometimes I get kind of mixed messages, and I understood at one point early on is that committees would have to make a request to meet more often. And John may be able to answer this for me, because I believe, is Multimodal, John, now meeting monthly, or are y'all still meeting every other month?
We're meeting monthly.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's great. I'm glad for you all. I'm not sure what change happened with Multimodal. You were meeting every other month at one point, and then something happened that allowed you to meet monthly, and that's great for you all.
Right.
And we're actually going in the other direction. It's been 3 months since we've met. So I'm just not clear. I know that we have a staffing shortage within the transit city staff, but my guess is that a lot of this meeting is dependent on city resources, and I would like to advocate that those city resources be made available to transit committees so that we can meet monthly.
I'm not sure who should answer to that. And it just kind of sounds like a request. So Kyle went over. John, thank you. Yes, please.
So I think that when we were looking to meet every month, we talked to Jessica. And I think there was an issue. It was Jessica and Amy, I believe. Amy, are you there?
I am here.
I think that I remember there was a conversation that there was something with like staffing because somebody has to be there to set up the meeting. And there were multiple meetings at once or something. and somehow they were able to work it out. But I think it was Jessica that that helped facilitate us being able to move back to every month. Am I correct?
Well, let's just say thank you to Jessica for that advocacy. And it sounds like I would like to just, I really want to stay on track. So let's move this over to continued conversation, please. And, Kim Roney, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to let everyone know that I hear your concern and the need to meet monthly. And I acknowledge that the transit system is a core city service. So your concerns are heard. I have requested that the transit committee being recognized again as a full commission that reports directly to council to be on a future boards and commissions committee agenda. So I just wanted you to know.
Thank you.
I cannot thank you enough for that advocacy. I mean, I really, and again, I'm sorry if this frustrates you, Harvey, but to listen, you know, again, to accidentally listen in to a downtown commission parking and transportation meeting this morning. And again, I don't even know when it happened. That's just when I tuned into it on YouTube and watched it. But that transit was not included. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So that baffles me. So thank you, Kim Roney, for your advocacy and your all of the work you've done. Jeff, thank you.
And I don't mean to be a complainer. I attended the last Multimodal Transportation Committee meeting for 2 hours, from 3 until 5. For 2 full hours. Transit was never mentioned in the meeting that I attended. So again, I'm getting mixed messages.
You know, all of a sudden I'm feeling super protective of John. John, you are here. You have shown up. You and your, may I please put you on the spot and help you? Can you make it make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we do cover transit in most meetings. The last meeting was somewhat, we had a very long discussion about bikes and greenways, and we there was a lot of discussion about the Merriman project, and that the project was not going to receive a road diet. So that ate up a lot of time, I think, in the last meeting. But we do have a lot of discussions about transit, and I believe that the MMTC is committed to transit. I mean, we all are.
John, would you please just speak to because you are our connection, right? Mm-hmm. We like all of our faith, and I think you feel the weight. There's no way you can't feel the weight of what we are putting on you. You're like, oh my gosh, you're our guy. So you're our guy. Like, we know that bikes and greenways are super sexy. Bike lanes, greenways. Who doesn't want an El Camino? Right. I mean, a Camino trail in Asheville. However, like transit is a whole different. So how are you? I really am going to put you on the spot. Like, how are you, John, talking to MMTC? Brandon, you have a question?
So,
wait, you're on mute, Brandon.
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, but how can we empower you to speak for us for the buses?
All right. So a couple of things. This is my first transit committee meeting. I've been on the board since January, but I didn't get an invite for the January meeting, and then we haven't had a meeting since then, right? It's hard if I'm not getting the information, then I can't be a representative and be a voice. So I'm here now, and now I can go back, and Kim is here as well. And Michael, I don't know where he's at today, but he's also on the MMTC.
And maybe he wasn't even invited. We don't even know. So thank you for your honesty and your transparency.
Right.
Thank you.
You know,
He was invited to the meeting today.
So whatever the situation is, we're here now. And, you know, the reason I'm here is so that I can be an advocate for transit in the Multimodal Transit, Commission. So that is the purpose. The one thing that I know this may be off track a little bit, but in most cities, there is a separate transit authority that oversees transit. And Asheville, we have I feel like maybe that is a discussion that we need to think about going forward, is finding a way to move towards forming a regional transit authority that actually oversees transit, that is funded by county and city dollars. So that's my take. I know it's it's not it's not on the agenda, but that's what I think long term. If you want,
John, I love it, and thank you and welcome. Yes, so that's what we were looking for.
Right.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. I will keep that on me. John, thank you so much. I appreciate your time to this. I would welcome an opportunity for you and I maybe to grab a cup of coffee and just connect outside of this. Harvey, I would like to involve you in whatever way you feel comfortable. I appreciate that. Oh my gosh, we realize, all of us, that this is a big deal, and I feel like we are all sensitive to city staffing opportunities. We are all sensitive to COVID, and everything is a little shaken up. And I feel confident in that everyone on this call today is committed to transit. So there is no way I cannot see this conversation and this meeting as anything but a huge win. So if we can just all take a second at 4:42 p.m. on 4/20 to just know that this is a good day for transit and for Asheville, and that I feel we are working together. And Barry, thank you for letting me put you under the microscope for a second. I can imagine that your job is so hard. I don't even know. Like, catching the bus for me is challenging. I cannot even imagine what that would mean to be in charge of making sure that all of the buses are on time all the time. And LaShawn, girl, if you don't know that I love you by now, I don't know what else to say to you. You are the hardest working woman in Nashville, and I appreciate everything that you do today and every day. So that said, we're going to move on to staffing at the next item on the agenda, please. The staffing at RATPDEV, and just keeping bus drivers there. And Barry, I know you have, well, I don't know anything, so I'm sorry for saying that. Yeah, Barry,
this is Eunice. And that item was revised based on our meeting with you. So,
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, so we basically decided to have Barry make a presentation about transit operations and everything. So I just wanted to, hopefully I'm not jumping in at the wrong time, but I just wanted a quick reminder that based on our meeting with you, that specific item was revised, and we took the part about transit crisis, staffing crisis at RTPDF was taken out. So just
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. And Barry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Okay, Kyle, if you can just tell me what's up next then.
Next in order, changes to public transit during the pandemic.
Thank
followed
you.
by Barry's transit operation presentation.
Kyle, thank you so much. So LaShawn or Barry, I'm just going to assume LaShawn. LaShawn, you want to talk to that?
Maybe I'm looking at this wrong.
Rochelle?
Yes, yes.
This is Eunice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to keep jumping in.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, basically, if I recall, one of the things we discussed was you were going to lead the discussion on this specific item, and it wasn't so much what was being done, but you talking about some of the things you've seen and all the things that we've been doing to ensure that people are safe on the buses. Is this where we're going, or I just want to clarify?
Oh, hold on. There have been some changes to this agenda. So I'm looking, and I appreciate your, hold on one second. Okay, so I see that we have continued changes to public protocol during yeah, I'm happy to lead this. As the transit chair, I would love to see, I love that I am seeing a lot of bus mask use on the bus. I appreciate that. I would love to see increased ridership on the buses. I personally have been passed up for rides as many as 3 times a day on the west side. And so this kind of leads back to customer service and calling complaints and everything. But Harvey, I know you want me to stay on track, and I like you for that. So continued changes to public transit protocol. I don't know that I'm the best one to handle this, although it is my agenda item. So Barry, if you can speak to any changes that you know are coming up during the pandemic as far as mask use or ridership or capacity, I would love for you to speak to that, please.
We have seen the public adjust when you look at the Young's ridership reports. When they see that a route is consistently overloading, what we're seeing is a leveling out of pass ups and those kind of things. My big concern is especially right now, the next several months, as the city begins to take on more and more visitors. LaShawn and I did a little sample the other day just to see. I mean, obviously, with less riders, we're able to run routes on time pretty dang close. I mean, you know, we're hitting goals 72%, 73%.
Wait, Barry, hold on. I want to stop right there. So when you say with less riders, you're able to meet goals. So I'm sorry, but ridership to me doesn't have anything to do with on-time performance. On-time performance is going to be based on traffic, but not ridership.
Well, let me explain an example. Can I give you an example? So
Please.
We pulled January's Thursday, Friday, Saturday OTP, and it was running about 75% for those 3 days. And we pulled Thursday, Friday, Saturday because anybody who's been in downtown the last month on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday sees the increase in traffic, foot traffic. So a lot of people are visiting us on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. So we pulled the data Thursday, Friday, Saturday for in January when those people weren't there, and then pulled it for the end of March, 1st of April, and the on-time performance dropped by 2 points, went from 75 to 73. So there's an example of people in the roadways. It can be traffic, but it can be more ridership riding the buses as well. And
But
the other
excuse
part
me,
of that,
on-time performance. Sorry,
other
Barry,
part of
excuse
that,
me.
the other, let me finish. The other part of that is that we're going to see many more people go back to work. That's what's happening right now. The pandemic dynamics are changing. People are going back to work, but there's still mandate, 6-foot distancing. We can't put more than 9 people on a bus because of the mandate for Buncombe County of 6-foot distancing. I can't do anything about that. I live within those rules and regs.
Okay, but we could advocate. We could advocate for that for the city. But as far as on-time performance being the main thing, I think that on-time performance is a fine goal, and that is also something that is just beyond your control, because on-time performance is all about traffic. It's all about traffic, but
Not
customer service, well, it kind of, how is it not? Because if a bus is in traffic, if a bus is stopped because there's an accident or a protest or just high volume of cars on the road, it seems like on-time performance is something that really truly is a lot of ways beyond your control or even the driver's control. But what is within the driver's control is, and what is within your control and control to advocate for, is more seats on the bus, so more people who need to get where they are can go. And then also fare. We all know that the homeless population, a lot of riders, when we make it fare free, and I will be the first to admit that I was all about fare free until I really experienced what that meant as a paid rider. So I've changed my mind a little bit about that. So implementing fares, I think, would help with ridership. And I just don't think that on-time performance is the number one concern of riders. I think that safety, I think that accessibility and safety are the two most important
I didn't
things.
say that, Rachel. It is not what I said.
Sir.
On time,
Barry?
Rochelle,
Barry,
sorry.
my name is
sorry, Rochelle. Sorry, Rochelle. I do apologize. But
thank you.
I didn't say that. And what I'm saying is it's a part, and it's a sampling tool, and it's a part of analyzing what is happening with ridership. Ridership is about to try to explode. So hopefully we see things happening.
Should explode. We should love this. You should welcome this, because ridership, and especially if you eliminate fare free, ridership is what we want. We want more riders. We want full buses. Do we not? We want full buses.
I can't deny that. That is exactly what we want.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. So we're just going to move on to okay. So RAPT Dev Transit Operation Presentation by Barry Reeling.
Barry Reiling, thank you. I'm not going to read through this. The document is there for you all to read. I'm going to hit some finer points on this as to try to help the meeting move along. Obviously, we've gone through a tremendous pandemic. And like I said, every one of our people have been out there at the front lines every day dealing with it, and dealing with the people, dealing with all the issues of the masks and getting people to do that. And it's just, it has been challenging for our employees. There is no doubt. And they have come through like angels, quite honestly. They've done a great job and tried to really stay on top of what's happening. Through all of this, we're currently down 6 full-time operators on a full staff of 61 or so. We've had drivers come and go for the last year. It has been we added 9 positions a year ago, January.
What were those 9 positions?
We added 20.
What were those 9
added
positions?
20,000 revenue hours in January of last year, starting January 5th. Now, what did you say? What was your question?
What were those new positions, please?
Drivers. 9
Only drivers?
That's what I'm pretty sure we added a couple of utility. We added the CSRs. No, we
That's
added
your
other
customer
positions
service
as well.
folks?
Customer service representatives, yes.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
again, nine full-time driver positions with 20,000 revenue hours. Okay,
So
we added a lot of folks.
how many positions have you had? How many positions have you filled and have then also become vacant in the last 6 months?
I don't have that. I'm not overly excited about giving those numbers out compared when you consider that the competition is always looking at what you're having to deal with. So how we deal with, I'm 6 drivers short right now. Okay.
Okay.
That's
So
where we are.
when we talk about the capacity to increase, so when I ride the bus and I hear about, okay, so what are you doing to recruit drivers? What are the proactive things that you're doing?
Can I go through my presentation and
Yes,
then you
please.
can ask me questions? Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry,
Yes,
Jeff.
sir.
Rochelle, I would like to let Barry make his presentation, and then I imagine we'll all have some questions for him.
Okay, like I said, I may have skipped over the first part of what we're doing, what we've done the last year, and I'm going to hit on a few of the other finer points. Like I say in here, we're 6 full-time drivers short. That's 240 hours a week. That's 240 hours of overtime that we're putting out there every week. There was times when we had people out with COVID. Remember when COVID testing started in March, April, May, June, July last year, the doctors were putting people out for a week to 14 days, waiting on results for their tests. So we went through all of that. With all of that, those people being out as they were, we backfilled, we covered with overtime. Our drivers have been through like every other transit agency in the country, a long haul. But we worked with the city to try and maintain the bus service. Whereas there's a lot of transit agencies out there that just laid people off, sent them home. We were able to avoid that here. They also cut routes dramatically. We were able to keep most everything going. There was one point where we had 3 routes that we did not run, but we took the drivers and the buses for those routes and put them on other routes to help the overload situations. So a lot of things flexing and moving over the last year. All of the PPE stuff, all of the mask issue, all of the fogging of the buses every night, wiping down the stanchions, fogging the transit center every night, fogging and disinfecting, constant, ongoing, never. Those are all things we've added into this service. We advertise on Indeed. We advertise on yard signs. We offer a $2,000 sign-on bonus. We offer employees a $2,000 referral bonus. We are, like I said, through all of this, I'm just going to guess, we probably lost 15 drivers in the last year, and we've had to replace 15 drivers. And that's how it's been, up and down all the way through. One of the things that we've done a pretty good job of, if you remember, and I can't remember who it was, it may have been you, Jeff, that said we'll have to talk. When I first got here in early 19, one of the things that was mentioned to me was how the July before there was so many missed revenue hours. It was poor buses, poor service, not enough drivers, all of those things. And 2019, we lost 983 hours of service. 2020, last year, we lost 246 hours of service. And so far this year, we've lost 146, 3/4 of the way through this fiscal year. So what I'm saying here is we've found a way to get the work done. We're getting it done. Would I like to have those 6 drivers? Absolutely. It'd make make things so much easier, because we're still losing drivers for testing. We've had a few employees have trouble with the vaccine, so they've been out here and there. So everything's affecting everything that we do, and I think we're doing a pretty good job with it. We did add an additional security person in the afternoons, evenings. That seems to have helped calm things down at the transit center. If you think about it, I think the police department closed their overnight restrooms back in August, and we had our restrooms closed up until, what was it, January, LaShawn? And then we opened ours back up after the construction was all done. And just in the last, actually today, we had taken the doors off of the stalls in the restrooms down there because of the overdosing and the inability to get people out of that restroom to just sit in there and shoot up and freak out for an hour. And so we have no way to deal with them. So we have cut the doors to add some privacy, but allow us to access and allow the security guards to access and allow the police to access to get those people who are ODing out of there. We have the customer service reps that we hired are helping us with our interactions with passengers. And quite honestly, the interactions with passengers, there has been an increase in not just violence, but the slang, the cussing out drivers, all of that has increased. A lot of it is, we're only letting 9 people on the bus. Well, the next driver that comes through is going to take the heat for that. And that's kind of what's been going on. Would I love for us to have full bus? Yeah, I'd love for it to be full bus. But that's not my decision. We're going to do what we have to do. And I understand why there's still trepidation. I mean, there's still 10,000 people a day dying in this country from this disease. So that's a concern. Should we open it up or not? I think Buncombe County is being safe in the thought process of what's going on. And in a month from now, a lot more people will be vaccinated. Hopefully, things start to loosen even more from the CDC, the federal guidance, and then locally. So yeah, we're all in on that. I'd love to be running a full bus.
Barry, can I just ask you, I really feel like moving to a paid ride would eliminate some of the congestion of the buses, and I know that it screams of economic oppression and a lot of other things, but I also think that as a bus advocate, it also talks about an opportunity for these methadone clinics and homeless shelters and other agencies to maybe buy in and purchase tickets for their folks. I know that I experienced a full ride and full load and an opportunity to get to my work in West Asheville. And a lot of that is due to folks who are accessing the bus for free and who are accessing the bus to ride out to West Asheville to access a methadone clinic on Brevard Road. And so I wonder if there are some opportunities to partner economically with some of these organizations. If these folks are headed to Harvey, I'm seeing that maybe you would like to weigh in. Do you have something to say?
No, I'm good.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I would like us to see us go back to fares. There's a couple of things about fares. Transfers. Don't want to see transfers come back here.
Fine,
I think there's an opportunity to make a change with that. I think the city is looking at how to do this fare structure again.
What are you looking at? Is this up to the city or is this up to you?
We don't control fares. The city does.
The city does? Okay. Thank you, Eunice. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that what Barry is saying is correct. We are taking a look at that, and we're going to come to the transit committee on our recommendations in terms of looking at fares. The fare-free service was implemented because of COVID, and it's not something we're going to leave permanently. We're looking behind the scenes, we're looking at a schedule as to when we can bring that back, as well as look at other options to be able to come to transit committee and share our thoughts and recommendations before we move forward with that. So we've been having that conversation with RATP Dev, and it's something that we're looking at.
Yeah,
Eunice, I appreciate that. And if there's any way for me to advocate as a writer that we implement fare free and that we implement fares again as the first way to just I don't know, and here's where it becomes an equity issue and it gets really, really muddy. But for me as a person who has to get to work, as entitled as it might seem, I do want to pay for the priority of sitting in a seat and making it to my job to work over someone who may be fare free and riding out to, I don't know, do
I
any
think you're
number
going to
of
get that
other things.
opportunity. As Eunice just said, you're going to get that opportunity. They're going to bring you ideas on what they want to do with that. And it's bigger than just you. It's the drivers.
Is it though, Barry? Because really, like,
can I speak? Can I
you
speak,
can,
please?
but then also like you
No, I won't.
literally,
I'm done.
like I literally lost my job with you at Asheville Rides Transit because I could not get to work. Yes.
Michelle, could we please move on?
We can,
Okay.
and it's just
I would encourage you for us to move on, please, if we can. So
I would too. I just want that reflected in the minutes. Thank you.
That's not true.
Yes.
It is not true. Just
I
so you
agree
know,
that
it's
this
not
is
true.
frustrating.
I can't have this debate with you.
Let's move on.
Barry, it is
Yes.
true. And you and I can talk about
Again,
this
I can't
another
have
way.
this debate with you. Please don't
What?
put me in the position. You're putting me in a position where accusing me of something that's
I'm
not
not
true,
accusing
but I
you
can't
of
tell anybody
anything.
why it's not true.
Michelle and Barry, can we please move on?
No, sir. Yes.
Let's move on, please.
Absolutely. Barry, I disagree with whatever you're saying. Eunice,
Michelle, please,
I
let's move
appreciate
on.
you. Yes, ma'am. Let's go.
Just said to
Yes,
move
ma'am.
on.
Yes, ma'am.
Move on.
So I think I'm pretty well done.
Okay, thank you, Barry.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so thank you. The next, thank you so much. Okay, so City of Asheville budget and funding the master transit plan, which of course we all want. Let's just talk about ways we can promote that. Thank you.
Rochelle, basically, we're going through the budget process right now throughout the city, and our goal is to come to transit committee with some numbers as we work through this process. And I know everyone on the committee have been tuning in to look at listening to the budget work session. And so at this time, we're working with the finance department and looking at some of the numbers. We hope to bring information or make a presentation to the transit committee at the June meeting.
Thank you, Eunice. I appreciate that. Okay, so the next thing is representing transit at MMTC. And I think we heard from John that he is fully prepared and willing to show up in that way and represent transit. And we really appreciate all that he's doing as MMTC with his seat there and representing transit. Jeff.
Yes, just I could go back for a second to Eunice's presentation on the budget and funding of the transit master plan. I know we don't have all the numbers yet. I would be in favor of the transit committee going on record. And so I am making a motion that the transit committee is in favor of funding evening service hours, as well as Route S3 and S6. That's the route to South Asheville as part of the FY 22 budget. That would be my suggestion if it's appropriate at this time in the meeting.
Thank you, Jeff, and we'll take that into consideration as we put the numbers together.
Well, at this point, it's just a motion that I have made that has not been seconded, and nor has there been discussion. There may not be a second, but that's fine too. But I want to at least go on record.
Jeff, I appreciate that, and I at least want to acknowledge a call to action to seriously support the multimodal transportation and the transit master plan. I mean, a lot of work went into this, and I would really love if we would all just support this transit master plan. So, Jeff, is that what I'm hearing you say, that you would like to officially support in this?
It actually is more specific than that. It's that we support evening service hours, as well as funding for additional service to South Asheville through the S3 and S6 routes. I think there's been a proposal that it be the frequency, instead of every 90 minutes, be increased to every 60 minutes for those two routes. That would be my recommendation. That's what I'm making that motion. Should there be a second?
Thank you for that motion. Do we have a second, please, for that? Harvey, I see you moving your mouth.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Harvey. So we have a motion and a second. Let's just go ahead and take a vote. Or
you could ask for discussion. Some people may have different
we absolutely could. Is there anything else anyone would like to say to this?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll give just a little bit of pause, and then I will go ahead and take roll. Brandon, do you support this motion?
Do you have a quorum to do that, Rochelle?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Eunice?
I said, do you have a quorum to do that?
Yes, ma'am, we sure do.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no. Transit committee is representing strong. Brandon, would you like to weigh in and vote on this, please?
I think John left, so the question, that's why I'm asking that question.
What is your question?
Yeah, we have a quorum.
Do you have a quorum?
Yeah.
Do we have a quorum?
Can you hear me?
I believe we do.
And Brandon said yes.
I mean, we had a quorum for the other topics up for vote, so.
Yeah, but John has left, so that's why I'm asking the question.
Wait, I'm sorry, Eunice, who left?
John Balsam.
John did leave. Kyle, can I defer to you? Do we have a quorum still?
I mean, a quorum is a majority. I doubt that we have 4 members gone, which leaves us with 6 of 10 are present.
So is that considered a quorum?
Yeah, we only need 5.
Majority.
Okay, let's assume that with a majority vote, and then we will table it if it's not a quorum. I'm still new to all of this, Robert's Rules of Order. So, excuse my ignorance, but we'll at least take a majority vote, please, for this issue. Brandon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yay.
Kyle?
Yay.
Harvey?
Yay.
And Jeff?
Yay.
I'm sorry?
Yay. Yes.
Thank you. Georgia. Georgia, are you still with us?
No.
I hear something, but I'm not sure. So we're going to move on. John is gone. And I vote yay. So I'm just going to ask one more time. Georgia, do you have anything to say about this issue? Okay, and now I'm going to defer to Kyle because I'm not sure
We just had 5 votes.
what this means.
10. And 5 is not a majority of 10, unfortunately. So I think we need to table it, come back in June.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh man, this has been a wild meeting, and I appreciate, oh my gosh, the passion and the energy and the commitment to transit does not go unnoticed. So there's just really no way I can duly appreciate or acknowledge the pride I feel in everything that is happening right now. So 5:15, I feel like we are tracked to finish on time. Monthly transit update memo. I'm not sure what that means. Miss Georgia, I would very much like to give you just a moment to say anything you want to say about your writer experience or anything in this moment. So, Miss Georgia, do you have anything to report? Okay, darn it. I'd hoped that Georgia had some things to say.
We
Because
skipping to that point on the agenda.
Excuse me.
Are we skipping to that point on the agenda? Otherwise, I'll have something to say.
Excuse me.
There she is.
Hey, Georgia.
I was here the whole time and you wasn't hearing me.
Oh my gosh. Please take this opportunity to say anything you would like us to know.
I hung up and down back.
Miss Georgia, thank you for being here. Please, is there anything you would like to report?
So I was wanting to say something about the experience with art and riding the bus.
Yes, please, go ahead. You have our attention.
Well, the thing is, I have to give Barry and LaShawn the best because it's a challenge dealing with the pandemic, plus dealing with people that don't want to follow the rules. I've been on a bus. Every time I get on a bus, I'm dealing and listening to people not wanting to wear their mask. Then they ask them to put it over their face, over their nose. People, they'll do it, and then in the ride 5 minutes later, they're not, and the driver has to correct them. I've been on the bus when people attack the drivers and get smart and cuss them out about a mask. So, I mean, what's wrong with you wearing a mask? To protect yourself and myself. The drivers are being jumped on for wearing a mask, get cussed out. That was the reason why they put masks on the bus. And then you still got people that don't want to wear their masks. And back to the complaints of getting somewhere on time. If you got to be somewhere on time, if you have to be somewhere at 1 o'clock, why you going to catch the 12:30 bus?
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're dealing with traffic. You got somewhere to go that's important to you. People are not utilizing the bus and the schedules like they should. They're getting on the bus at the wrong time to get somewhere on the time they need to be there. They're just not utilizing. I seen a lady getting on the bus supposed to be there at 1:30. Why she gonna get on the bus at 1 o'clock? She should be getting on the bus that's gonna take her past where she going around 12:30. Sometimes you gotta leave an hour and a half, 2 hours to make sure you get somewhere on time. People are not utilizing the times that the buses move to get where they need to get. They're not. And like I say, they got the people uptown, they're doing an excellent job with keeping now, they got enough. You are required to wear a mask on this property. If you do not have a mask, you can come and you can get a mask. You can get a mask from the front desk. Plus, they got masks on the bus for people to get on if they ain't got one and get one. So, and keeping the bathrooms clean. The bathrooms are being clean. That young lady that comes up there, she keeps the bathroom clean. Of course, you, me, and nobody else wants people in the bathroom doing dope, shooting up, and having the people outside that really do need to use the bathroom, holding them up for an hour and 30 minutes. That ain't cool. It's just a lot of stuff going on that transit has to combat since this pandemic. And with having the charge of the people start paying, that could make it better for people that's riding free. Because a lot of people jump on that bus, they just getting on the bus just to be good. They don't have anywhere to go that's important. They just riding. And before they was riding the bus all around. Get on the bus, ride all the way around, and get off when they get back uptown. So it's a lot of abusive things going on that shouldn't be going on, and they're trying to slow that down and try to combat. Like I say, they make an announcement. If you don't have a mask, you can come to the front and get a mask. These drivers are being challenged by people that rides the bus. They don't want to do right. Most of them don't want to do right. Some of them do. But I've watched since the pandemic all the way up to now, people that ride that bus, most of them are working, but they don't leave their home in time enough to make sure they get there on time. And they want to blame the transit riders, drivers. They want to blame them. No, that ain't right. It ain't right. It's just a bunch of mess going on.
Well, thank you so much for weighing in. And we agree that I agree. I will only keep it on me. I agree that there's certainly this continued, just butting heads of folks who are riding the bus for free and have, excuse me if this sounds insensitive, but nowhere to go and all day to get there, versus the folks who have places who they really need to be on a time frame, who are using the bus. So all the voices are important and valid, and there's a myriad of things going on. Again, I appreciate the option you gave for fair, pay for it. Public transit is a great opportunity and a huge public opportunity. And I don't think it should be free. It is just such a great, it's something that deserves some time and attention and money, and bus fares are reasonable. I mean, really, who owns a car and can say that their transportation budget for the month is $20? That's insane. And for me, as a necessity rider, for $200, I can buy a bus pass and have unlimited rides for $200 all year. That's crazy. That is so good. It's a huge value. Yes, Jeff.
need to move on. This is rider experience, and we're revisiting a topic we visited before.
Yeah.
Right. Check this out. You're going to have people riding the bus, like whoever mentioned earlier about having transfers. Transfers don't need to be in the picture because I sit on the bus. Bus driver got off the bus down to use the bathroom, and somebody got on the bus and took all the transfers and passed it to their buddy. I watched them do it.
Well, transfers, I mean, honestly, transfers could be a whole other thing. And the way we sell tickets could be a whole other thing. And if there's anything that I learned from my short time as a customer service representative in transit is that selling tickets was no easy thing. And I would love for us to think about partnering with grocery stores like Ingles. Like, why are we not selling bus tickets in Ingles? And this is a whole other thing, but I have never worked in a place that made it so hard to buy a ticket
Rochelle,
to ride the bus.
Can we get back to the agenda for our remaining?
Yeah. Of course. We're supposed to be almost done. It's 5:25. So the last things really were representing transit at MMTC, transit committee updates, and departmental updates. Like the agenda is basically finished, unless there's something I don't know. Kyle, can you keep me on track?
So I think that we actually
go over the memo. It's self-explanatory, so it is just a summary of all the various projects that we've been working on. It also a summary of all the grants-related activities that we have been performing. So just basically put all that together in the memo for.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, but that really is important. So I appreciate all of the folks that are keeping me on track with this agenda. This memo is really important. So Eunice, please, I know we only have 4 minutes, but if we can agree to go 10 minutes over, Eunice, if you can just talk to a little bit more about these things, please.
Sure. The first item in the memo has to do with the budget. And similar to what I shared with the group, it's just an overview of ongoing process. And as indicated, the goal is to make a presentation to TC at the next meeting, which could be in June. COVID update, I also provided an update in terms of masks and all the things we're doing. So again, this is an overview of ongoing strategies and ongoing masks that we've been distributing to riders on the buses, at the station, as well as in the dispensers. Transit capital projects, just a quick overview of what is happening at the transit station. By now, as you can see, the project is winding down. A majority of the improvements have been completed, other than the signage work that we continue to work on, and that should be completed pretty soon. Public artwork is also completed, and it was installed in March of 2021. Bus stop improvement project, I went ahead and gave a group a quick update. Even though the total project is on hold, behind the scenes, we have been working with the community to install bus shelters at some of our bus stops needing amenities. So 2 examples are along Hendersonville Road. We've been working with Rotary Club. They are working on donation to help the city install 2 bus shelters. And then we're also working with another group, Montfort Neighborhood Association, also to install bus shelter at one of our bus stops along the route. So it's just a quick update on some of the bus stop improvement stuff that we are doing, and we will continue to provide updates to the group. Status on vehicle procurement. We continue to work with Gillick. We currently placed 2 buses, and we're working with them, as well as 4 vicinity buses with Grand West. We anticipate delivery of the vicinity buses in towards the end of the year or in January 2022. And for the Gillick buses, we anticipate delivery by summer of this year.
I'm sorry. I have a couple questions about those new buses. Do those new buses have bike racks?
Yes, they're going to be
all of them.
Yeah. We purchased the bike racks. We do bring them here, and then they are installed on the buses for us.
Okay. One more question. Those bike racks, can they accept, and will they be willing to accept electric bikes? Is there any barrier to electric bikes on the bike racks?
I think it's feasible, and I'll probably defer to Barry or LaShawn, but depending on the specification of the electric bikes, they could fit in the space on the bike racks.
Well, I think they'll fit on the space on the bike racks. My question is, would it be any harmful? Because I know there's some rules around batteries on the bus. So if scooters and electric scooter things, motorized wheelchairs are available, would those electric bike things fit into that, or is there going to be some separate?
Scooters are bigger than the bike racks. We normally would fit the scooters in the buses, not necessarily.
Yeah, I don't mean about size. I just mean about the rules around batteries being on buses, because there are some rules around chemicals and batteries being transported on buses. I just want to make sure that electric bikes are in no way subject to that.
I don't think there is any issue regarding that. However,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can research and provide additional information if needed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
we
that.
also updated TC members about the radios that we purchased. We have been working with RATP Delft to install the new radios, and we're almost done with installation of the new radios on the buses as well as the handheld radios. The next item.
So all buses have radios now?
They should have, and they always do have buses in the,
what about customer service staff that's in transit? Do they have access to these radios and access to the conversations that are happening?
They should have handheld radios to communicate with dispatch on issues or any related concerns happening at the station, as well as dispatch being able to communicate with the drivers on the buses.
Okay, so just to be clear, customer service reps should have radios.
Barry, is that the case?
Yes, they do not have the radios to comm with the buses, though. That's a dispatcher function and a supervisor function. They have radios that will comm with the security people, and if a customer service person is out on the platform, we can communicate with them as well.
So it's a closed circuit thing, and they can speak to other customer service reps and security only?
And dispatch and supervisors.
They have a base
on the
station
platform.
radio.
So they can also speak to. So they have radios.
It's a
They're
base
not the
station
same
radio.
ones.
Wait, it's a what?
It's a base station radio.
Can you explain the difference between what that means and who they can communicate to?
Guys,
Hey, Kyle, go ahead. I'm sorry. Wait, Kyle, go ahead.
I'm sorry, LaShawn. I have to step off, and so I will no longer be recording the minutes from here. I would just propose that we pick up the conversation about radios at a later time and adjourn the meeting, unless y'all want to.
No, I appreciate that. And yes, let's go ahead and just make a note that we will talk about communication between radio communication at another date. Kyle, thank you. If there are no other issues, then we will adjourn this meeting. So close, but 4 minutes after the planned time. Any other things? Oh my gosh, y'all, so much happened. And I'm so proud and giddy and all of the things about this meeting. Thank you so much. So the next one will be in, not next month, but a month later in June. And watch for that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Appreciate everyone's time and attention. Thank you.